Hello and welcome to a tutorial with advanced tips for playing melodies with samples on the circuit. Please watch my basic tutorials before watching this one. The reason you need tips and tricks for this is because, at least as of version 1.4, you can't easily play melodies with samples on the circuit. You have the pitch knob, but finding the right pitch is almost impossible manually. I've created a template which has prefix notes for each of the pitches for each of the notes of the chromatic and major and blues scales, and there are links in the description of this video to download that template. So on to tip number 1. If your song has less than 16 steps, like this one, you can still play the notes, even though you can't see them light up on the grid. Not only that, you can also copy and paste them using the duplicate button, even though the original location isn't lit up. And you can create melodies with samples this way, just by copying and pasting notes. I'll shut this off just for a bit, and on to tip number 2. Up until now I've been showing you how to play melodies with samples that are just one note. But you can also play chords. Major chord, 7th, minor, minor 7, major 7. Once you have a chord as a sample, you can pitch it up and down using the template. For example, pitch a C minor one tone up and you have D minor. Once you've included your chords in your own sample templates, just put them in place wherever you want using the templates. And now you're pitching chords instead of pitching notes. There are a few ways you can make samples that are chords. You can sample them off songs, you can sample your devices or synths, and you can do it pretty easily in Ableton. Just put notes together as a chord and save it as a WAV file. And while that may sound a bit scary, it takes under a minute to do it, and I've included a clip showing how to do that at the end of this tutorial. I recommend creating C chords. That way they'll go along with any of the notes you have sampled. And once everything is in place, it's super easy to play entire chords using just one drum track. On to tip number 3. You can play live with samples alongside recorded tracks. So in this case, I'm using drum 2 to play live using the notes in the template. Just pick your sample. In this case, I picked a muted trumpet. Make sure you're in velocity mode, and you're good to go. We've got 4 melody tracks going on simultaneously here. Arpeggio piano, trumpet, and the chords in the background, and we could add a 4th if we wanted using drum track 4. On to tip number 4. You can create songs that span over multiple sessions. Just don't forget to copy the template from session to session before you do, to make sure all the notes are in place in the template, and then you can go ahead and duplicate notes just as you did before and move from session to session. Once you've got that set up, copy the chords or notes from the template to the track, and everything should work fine in a new session as well. Alright, back to the first session, and on to tip number 5. Once you get into playing melodies with samples, you'll notice that your sample memory is getting filled up quite quickly. The circuit only gives you 60 seconds of samples. And that's sort of enough for drums or kicks or snares, but less so for notes like flutes or cellos or violins. So a trick that sampler users might be familiar with is to speed up the sample 2x, and then it sounds kind of high-pitched and short, but it takes half the space, and then move it onto the circuit and play it 1 octave down. So it's really simple to speed up and pitch up the template using Audacity on your PC, and I've included a tutorial for that just at the end of this clip. It takes under a minute and is fairly easy. And once you've got that, you've got the sample that you want sounding really bad, like this. But then use my template and easily pitch it down a whole octave, and it's back to where you want it, just taking half the space on your circuit. And on to tip number 5. And that is a site called freewavesamples.com. Not affiliated with it in any way, but it's got over 1,000 samples, and they're all pitched to C4 or C2 or C5, and that makes them really easy to bring them in to your sample files and just tune them up or down any way you like with the template. The samples are really high quality. This is an upright bass. I like this fretless bass from there as well. Just get any sample you want from there and play away with it. Great site, freewavesamples.com. There's a link to it in the description as well. On to tip number 6. The final tip for this time is use effects. Because you'll want to keep your samples short to save space, be generous with reverb and delay. Not too much, but just the right amount can keep the notes going on a bit longer and keeps your samples that much shorter. So that's it for now in terms of tutorials for playing melodies with samples on the circuit. And now I'll move on to my PC for creating chords and pitching up samples. Creating a C chord in Ableton and exporting it as a WAV file is pretty easy. Just pick the instrument you want in a new project, drag it onto a MIDI track, double click the clip, pick the notes you want in the chord, make them as long or as short as you wish, add notes or move them around to make major, minor, seventh, whatever chords. Just try and keep the chord as a C chord so that it goes along with the scale of other samples you might have. Then export it, save as a WAV file, and you're done. That is how to create a chord sample in under 60 seconds. And if you want to pitch up and speed up a sample, drag it into Audacity, pick Change Speed, not pitch or tempo. Make sure it's 2x, 100%, and you'll see the sample time shortened by half. It's going to sound horrible, but don't worry, we're going to stretch it out and pitch it down on the circuit. I also like to amplify the samples to make sure they're at as high a volume as possible. Then export as WAV file, save it, and yeah, I've got it already saved here. Save it, bring it onto your circuit, then pitch it down using the template, and you're good to go.